welcome to Let's Talk Diz, a show that gives you everything you need to know to help make your Disney vacation as magical as can be in just about 20 minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Coviello. With me each week is Disney Master Sandy from Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services. Sandy, how are you this week?
I am dreaming of sitting back on the pool deck of the Disney Treasure.
Well, as you know, we took the week off last week for the holiday. Hope you guys enjoyed that throwback to the Candlelight Processional. But before we left you for the holiday, we talked about the Treasure and we did some stuff about dining on the Treasure. And we promise we will be back to do the rest of the ship. And that is what we are here to do today. Today, we're going to talk about the rooms, as you've all heard on other Disney Cruise Line shows that we've done. We're going to talk about some entertainment, and then we're going to talk about some outdoor recreation. These are my favorite shows that we do about the ships because you just come with all the information that anybody would ever want to know. And I'm excited to hear about this ship.
It really is a beautiful ship. I know, as you said, we talked last week about that gorgeous grand hall and all the new bars and lounges and that great new Coco dining. It really is amazing. And I know I'm definitely repeating myself when I say that the Imagineers just blow me away every time. I could never be an Imagineer. I don't have the constant level of creativity that they put out, because we've talked about how this is a sister ship to the Wish. So it's the same exact layout, yet they can make you feel like you're somewhere totally different.
So let's begin with the rooms, because it's always something that I know as a travel specialist, you get asked constantly about the rooms. What is the theming? What do they look like? What's the difference in certain categories? All that stuff. So the floor is kind of yours. I'll pepper you with some questions, but break it down for folks that maybe are unfamiliar, or even some folks that are familiar with the way that these rooms lay out, and tell us what the themes are and take it away.
My pleasure. And that's really one of the things about knowing what ship you're on, because this idea of what theme is it is not something that we saw on the original classic ships. And now it's become a huge thing. Some people really like to pick the exact themes. Some are okay with working on location more. And it's tough because it's kind of, in a way, it's a little bit like Art of Animation Resort at Walt Disney World. Not everything comes in every size and category. Okay. And that makes it hard. So theme-wise, floors are shared with two different themes. One option, the floor is Aladdin and Pocahontas. And I'm going to back up and say this doesn't mean that your room is overwhelmed in that theme. All of the rooms have the same basics. It's really about a couple of pieces of artwork in your room, including the big piece of art above the master bed.
Right.
So don't expect, it's not like the royal guest room where the faucets are different and all of those things. These themes are strictly the artwork. Unique to this ship, though, they did also change the rugs in the hallway to intersperse the two themes.
That's kind of cool.
That's a really neat little thing that we haven't seen before. So again, one set of floors is Aladdin and Pocahontas. Second option, the floors are Nemo for some rooms and Luca for the others.
Okay.
And then the third set is Encanto and Up. So you might be on a floor that has inside, outside, and balcony in those. You might be on one that only has balcony. So some different options. Then we get into concierge and into suites. The concierge rooms all have Lion King theme, which if you've been a regular listener to the show, you know what a fan my family is of Lion King. So even though we didn't stay there, I definitely went up to check out the carpeting.
I was going to say, Sandy, you only stay concierge level, so that's helpful for you, but that's not the case.
I wish, but no.
Yes.
And I'll be very honest. I make that decision because I'm not in my room enough to justify the extra cost for the benefits for me.
Sure.
It's a great thing for a lot of my clients. On some cruises, it does work for me. I will be concierge on the adventure, so stay tuned for info on that one.
Nice.
Um, the two big suites are Raja, they're Aladdin themed, and then Jungle Book is the second one. And then there's the Tower Suite that we talked a lot about when we did our show on the Wish. The Tower Suite also has a new theme just for this ship, and the theme is Epcot. So you
Huh.
see that golf ball, as everybody loves to call it. You can see that in the color scheme, in the chandelier. That is going to be the biggest single room on the ship. It sleeps 8. My one pet peeve with that ship, with that suite, is it doesn't have a balcony.
Huh.
And you can see out to a lot of people and they can kind of see in, though you can obviously close some curtains. I will say I was in the Raja suite. I wish they would sell me just the bathroom to live in because it has a soaking tub with floor to ceiling windows next to it. I think I could just live in that bathtub for a few days.
We are going to create a Let's Talk Diz coffee table book where it's just you breaking down bathrooms on Disney properties. That's what the next publication is going to be from us.
Hey, there's something to be said for a good soak or the right layout when you're in the parks to get your family out quickly.
Yeah. All right, so that's a significant number of them. So, give me a breakdown of the stuff that's inside the room, right? Because has anything changed as far as the layouts of the amenities that are inside each room, or is it
You
pretty
know,
consistent?
I would like to be in Imagineering the day that they fight over the TVs. I'm thinking it must be one of the biggest fights that occurs because the position of the TV in the stateroom seems to wander from ship to ship.
Okay.
In the classic ships, I loved that it was kind of right on that curtain line and you could position it either way. I was not so thrilled when it moved to in front of the couch. So if you put the kids to bed, you couldn't see anything. Now they've gone to the other extreme. I guess they heard comments like mine. So now it's in front of the master bed. It is in some ways nice that it doesn't swivel because it makes it much harder to walk into with it not moving and being flush against the wall.
Sure.
They do have the nice high beds again, so you're able to put all of your suitcases underneath. One thing that I do recommend, because they've done a good job with storage, but it still can be a little tight. Currently, the Treasure is doing 7-night sailings. So when you've got 7 days worth of clothes and 7 nights worth of theme clothing, you can have a good amount of stuff if you're a family of 3, 4, or 5. I recommend that you think carefully about the suitcases that you're bringing. And if it's possible, bring different sizes. You're not going to be able to fit multiple large ones and multiple rollerboards underneath. But
Okay.
if you can get stuff that stacks inside of each other as you unpack it, it will make it much easier. On the subject of storage, I miss the trunk. I know it wasn't in the last ship either. We've had sometimes where they've had the trunk in front of the bed where you can store stuff inside. The classic ships have that tall trunk that stands at the end of the counter, kind of separating the bedroom from the living room space, but that is gone. There is some great closet space, just a few drawers. We made use of some space in the bathroom. Pack concisely. It's,
Which is hard.
I
It's hard to
find
do.
I'm always an overpacker, but I am an extreme overpacker on cruises.
Sure.
I
What?
have great intention of getting out of my bathing suit during the day, but I don't. It's rare. So I end up with, my bathing suit and my cover up much more than all of the regular clothes that I bought to wear. So think carefully, make it work with the space. The one thing that really surprised me and kind of cut me short was the lack of USB plugs. They've worked so hard to add USB, and I don't know what happened with the outlets on this ship.
It's
They
listen. It's quite possible that they're following the trend that we're not all just USB anymore. Now it's USB-C, or it's going to like the moment they install them, we're moving on to the next connector. It's like Apple's planned obsolescence, right? So like,
well, so they did have a USB outlet. You know, I like at the resorts next to the bed on both sides has USB and USB-C.
right.
I think honestly, in part, they're also thinking longevity for the ship and where will it end up.
Right.
Because
That
there
makes
was
sense.
only one USB outlet, but there was also a European outlet.
Got it.
And we haven't seen that. So again, as the fleet grows, I think, you know, they may shuffle it up more than we like, or we may really like it because it gives us a lot more different opportunities for those of us that really stick with Florida as the only ports that we sail out of.
But important when you're packing to make sure that your stuff keeps a charge is you want to make sure you have that brick so you can plug into the wall too in your room.
Definitely, you need that brick. Most of you probably need a small tower for your family so that you can do 4 USBs in that one plug.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. I mean, that's little details like that can really jam you up. if you're,
You know, when the only way to charge your phone is plugging it into your computer, it's not going to be a good week. I can tell you that.
No, not ideal. Although for me, it would be lovely. It just wouldn't be on my phone. It'd be terrific.
You know, we've talked about this before. I don't know. I'm probably worse than a teenager with my phone. I definitely obviously will work and I will check emails. I'm on Facebook, but I also use the Kindle app on my phone.
Yeah.
So I can be on my phone on vacation very easily 16 hours a day between reading a book and checking email.
All right. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
You know, that charge is really important to me. The bathrooms, if you're in a category that has the split bath, those have remained. They redid the color scheme, and so they seem brighter and larger, which is always nice to feel like you've got some larger space.
Sure.
I think overall, the color palette, it's funny, we were talking as we were in our room, and I'm like, this seems bigger when I know it's not. So it really shows you, even those of you thinking about your own home design, how color can play that illusion for you.
Definitely.
And just the lighter, softer color palette that they're using is really great.
Well, are there anything else about the rooms, or would you like to move on to some entertainment?
The one thing I will mention about rooms in general is about occupancy, because I know we run into that often, and I think I've addressed this in one other show, but I'll do it again. When you look on the website, they give you occupancy 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8.
Sure.
That's the maximum that room can hold, but it doesn't mean it's available for you to book, especially when you're booking closer to sailing. There are substantially more beds on the ship than Disney will ever book in conjunction with their lifeboat capacity. So what happens is they start to take away that quad occupancy in rooms because they don't want to be stuck selling only singles. Definitely from a price point, a get the room you want point, the earlier you book a Disney cruise, the better. For me, I always say to my clients when they're like, well, we might have an extra with us, pay the extra deposit. Put the person on when you book so you can get the room you want, and you can always get rid of it, that extra spot later, and apply that deposit to your final payment.
Good to know.
One other thing with both the Wish and the Treasure, when we talk about room categories, Disney's kept fairly standard in what they've offered. So this one has inside rooms, but only standard. The Wish and the Treasure are the only ships that don't have the deluxe inside. And the difference between the standard and the deluxe is the split bathroom. So if the split bathroom is a really important thing to you, that's where you've got one room that's a toilet and a sink, and a second room that's a sink and a shower. Mm-hmm. Then you need to be in an outside room or above.
Okay.
I will say I was in a standard room again, and they did a really good job with the layout. They all lay out different than the other rooms. We talk about coming into the other rooms, and you get to the bathroom right away, and then you get to what I call the master part of the room that's got the large bed. these, the bed, instead of it being parallel, it's perpendicular. So it's against the back wall because I was in one of the insides that's off of one of those side hallways. And I think those lay out a lot nicer than the other inside rooms. So you can have an inside room that goes in either direction depending where on the ship you are. So that's something to consider. They've got the deluxe ocean view, so that's going to give you the big round window. On these ships, we no longer have the ones with the two tiny windows, but we do have some at the front of the ship where the window is slanted. There's also the deluxe family room, so those will ocean room that'll hold up to 5. And then in balconies, you always want to check what option you're looking at. The Navigators is partially enclosed. There's some with obstructed views for lifeboats. And again, you've got that deluxe family ocean view with veranda that'll hold up to 5. So lots of good choices in staterooms here.
Awesome. Thank you for breaking that down. Very, very cool. Let's break into some entertainment because I know that that's a huge part of the cruising experience on Disney Cruise Line. It's something that I very much enjoyed. Break down what kind of shows we have.
Typical for Disney, they bring in some of the old shows and then they bring something new. So Disney Sees the Adventure and Beauty and the Beast, which we know from previous ships, are their 2 live stage shows. The third one is new and absolutely amazing. Moana is their new show.
Nice.
It starts off with some puppetry. I will say I was definitely a little distracted in a good way during the show, trying to figure out if they had done actual tattoos on these people, if they were temporary tattoos, or if they were clothing that was tattooed. Again, one of the things that's always interesting to me is when you go from the movie to the live show, the little bits of adaptation, the kind of new part of the story that they tell. And this one was just so captivating. Unfortunately for all of you, they don't allow photography and videography in the theater, so I don't have any of that to share. But do not miss this show. Again, this ship is doing 7-night sailing, so 3 nights you've got the Broadway style shows. Other nights you have live entertainment that will vary from sailing to sailing. So for the inaugural, they had a magician one night, a soloist one night, they showed the Mufasa movie one night, and then they had a boy band another night. So all of the entertainment is great, but definitely don't miss the live shows, and you won't want to miss Moana.
That sounds great. I mean, and especially now they got the sequel that has come out, and it's been red hot, and it's a big part of young kids' lives right now that everybody's walking around with it. So
it is definitely the time of Moana. We'll talk next week about the new Polynesian building that opened, and it is all about Moana. So
makes
she
sense.
is hot.
It makes total sense. So from what's hot, let's go to where we cool down. Let's go to the pools and some outdoor recreation. Talk to us about what that looks like on this ship.
We don't see a big change, which is good. Don't fix what's not broken.
Yep.
They've got the Toy Story Kids Splash Zone, which is just so much fun. The little kids T-Rex slide. Again, don't take a cruise if swimming is what you want to do. Ships are not known for their gigantic pools. They do still have that phenomenal Vanishing Edge pool in the back for adults, as well as those 2 spots that you can sit that are kind of stone chairs with a waterfall down your back. They're heavenly.
Yeah, sounds terrible.
That's, again, I could live in the bathtub or there. What can I tell you?
Sure.
The big change here, and it's not such a big change, the Aqua Mouse, the 2-person coaster at sea,
right,
has a new show exclusive to the Treasure.
Nice.
And it is Curse of the Golden Egg. So if you've loved the Aqua Mouse, and you should, this is just a new show to see, new theming, something new on the screens. It was neat. I had a chance to meet Caitlin Robrock again. She's the current voice of Minnie Mouse. And the show for the Aquamouse is heavily done with Minnie Mouse.
Nice.
And she said, she did it so long ago that there are parts she doesn't remember, but how neat it is to really see those individual lines come to life. So definitely some chances to cool off. But again, all of these sailings are going to take you to one, if not two, of Disney's private islands. So plenty of time to relax and enjoy. The treasure is a true treasure in the fleet.
Well, so we're coming to the end of the program. I guess anything that we haven't mentioned, it's hard to imagine that we haven't mentioned anything, but anything that you think you want to leave anybody with before we say goodbye this week?
If you left the mic on, I could probably talk for the next 4 days. Again, Disney cruising is something that everybody can love. I'd be happy to talk with you or any member of my team to help you find the perfect ship and the perfect itinerary, but definitely sooner than later, think about setting sail with Disney.
Sandy, thanks for taking the time to break this down for our 2-part show, and I hope you have a great week.
You as well.
And that's a wrap this week on Let's Talk Diz. If anyone you know could benefit from this or any show, please share, have them like and subscribe. And don't forget to reach out to the folks at Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services for any Disney destination planning. Make it a great week, and as always, keep making memories.